chosen ones, a massive transfer has begun, and God Himself is funding your destiny with blessings that will shake the foundations of your life. This is not a coincidence. This is not a fleeting moment. This is a divine shift orchestrated by the Creator, moving resources, opportunities, and favor directly into your hands. You are about to witness a supernatural outpouring that will change your reality forever. Stay with me, because what's coming is beyond anything you've ever dreamed. God has seen your faithfulness. He has watched you stand firm through storms, through lack, through moments when the world tried to dim your light. And now He is responding with a transfer of wealth, wisdom, and divine connections that will elevate you to places you never thought possible. This isn't just about money. It's about an overflow of His goodness, health, peace, purpose, and provision. Picture a river breaking through a dam, rushing toward you with unstoppable force. That's the kind of blessing God is releasing into your life right now. Your role as a chosen one means you were never meant to scrape by. You were designed to walk in abundance, to carry the weight of God's glory in every step you take. The struggles you faced, those sleepless nights, those closed doors, those moments of doubt, were not meant to break you. They were preparing you to receive what's coming. God is aligning everything in your favor, moving pieces you can't even see, to bring you into a season of overflow. Before we go deeper, I need you to do something. Hit that like button to declare you're ready for this transfer. Subscribe to join thousands of chosen one souls walking this path. And in the comments, type 777 to seal this moment, to signal to the universe that you're claiming what God has promised. These actions aren't just clicks, they're acts of faith, aligning your heart with the divine flow. This transfer isn't random. God doesn't work in chaos. Every blessing coming your way has been planned since the foundation of the world. Think of Joseph, who went from a pit to a palace. His brothers betrayed him, sold him into slavery. But God was funding his journey even in the darkest moments. Every trial was a setup for a divine transfer of authority and wealth. You are walking a similar path. The hardships you've endured are not your story's end, they're the prelude to your promotion. What makes this moment different is God's timing. You've sown seeds in tears, in sacrifice, in moments when you gave even when you had little. Now, the harvest is here. The Bible says in Galatians 6:9, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." That proper time is now. God is opening storehouses, releasing resources that will fund your dreams, your calling, your purpose. You're not just surviving, you're about to thrive. This divine funding isn't just about filling your bank account. It's about equipping you to fulfill your mission. Maybe you've felt a stirring in your spirit, a dream that seems too big, a vision that feels out of reach. God is saying, I'm funding that. He's providing the tools, the people, the opportunities to bring it to life. Look at Moses. He was a shepherd in the wilderness, but God funded his calling with miracles, provision, and a nation to lead. Your wilderness season is over. The resources are coming. The world might tell you to hustle, to grind, to make it happen on your own, but God's way is different. His funding doesn't come with exhaustion, it comes with peace. You don't have to chase it. He's bringing it to you. Psalm 23:1 says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." That's your promise. The Creator of the universe is your provider, and He's transferring everything you need right now. Rest in that truth. Let go of the worry. Your breakthrough is already in motion. Now, imagine this. You wake up one day and the weight of financial stress is gone. Opportunities you never expected start appearing. People you didn't know begin supporting your vision. This is what God's funding looks like. It's not just about money, it's about favor. It's about doors opening that no one can shut. Revelation 3:7 says, "What he opens no one can shut, and what he shuts no one can open." God is opening doors for you, chosen one, and no force in heaven or earth can stop it. This transfer is also about restoration. Everything the enemy stole, your peace, your confidence, your resources, God is bringing back multiplied. Joel 2:25 promises, "I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten." The losses you've faced are not the end. They're the setup for a comeback so powerful it will leave others in awe. People who doubted you, who overlooked you, will see God's hand on your life and wonder how it happened. Your job is simple. Stay aligned. Keep your heart open to God's guidance. Trust His process, even when it doesn't make sense. Abraham didn't know how God would make him a father of nations, but he believed. And God funded that promise with a legacy that still stands today. Your faith is the key that unlocks this transfer. Believe that God is moving, even when you can't see it. Your trust is what activates the flow. This isn't just about you. God's funding is meant to overflow. As He blesses you, you'll become a blessing to others. Your wealth, your wisdom, your influence will touch lives, change communities, and shift generations. Think of Esther, who was positioned in a palace not just for her own sake, but to save her people. Your divine transfer is about impact. You're being funded to carry out a purpose bigger than yourself. Let's pause for a moment. If this is resonating with you, take a second to hit that like button again. Subscribe to join thousands of chosen one souls stepping into this season of abundance. And don't forget, type 777 in the comments to declare you're ready for God's funding. These steps are your way of saying, "I'm all in, God. I'm ready for what you have for me." Now, let's talk about what this transfer will look like in your life. It might start small, a connection, an idea, a sudden opportunity. But don't despise small beginnings. Zechariah 4:10 says, "Who dares despise the day of small things?" Those small moments are the seeds of massive breakthroughs. God is planting them in your life right now, and they will grow into something extraordinary. This divine funding also comes with clarity. As God pours out His resources, He's giving you wisdom to steward them well. You won't just receive, you'll know how to multiply what's given. Look at the parable of the talents in Matthew 25. The servant who was faithful with little was given more. God is trusting you with this transfer because He knows you'll use it for His glory. Your heart is ready, chosen one. You've been prepared for this. The enemy will try to distract you. Doubt, fear, and naysayers might show up, trying to make you question God's promise. But stand firm. Ephesians 6:13 says, "Put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground." You're not fighting for victory, you're standing in it. The transfer has already begun. No weapon formed against you can stop it. This season is about stepping into your authority. You're not a bystander in God's plan. You're a co-creator, walking in the power He's given you. The funding God is releasing isn't just to meet your needs, it's to empower you to build, to create, to leave a legacy. Think of David, who went from a shepherd boy to a king. God funded his calling with courage, wisdom, and resources. Your story is no different. You're being equipped to rule in your sphere of influence. What's beautiful about this transfer is that it's personal. God knows your needs, your dreams, your heart's desires. Psalm 37:4 says, "Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." The funding coming your way is tailored to you. It's not a one-size-fits-all blessing. It's specific, intentional, and perfectly timed. Trust that God sees you, chosen one. He's not overlooking a single detail. This moment is a turning point. You're crossing a threshold into a new reality. The old struggles, the old limitations, they're fading away. God is rewriting your story, and this chapter is about abundance. You're not just surviving anymore. You're stepping into a life where lack has no place. Isaiah 55:1 says, "Come, all you who are thirsty, come to the waters, and you who have no money, come, buy and eat." God's provision is here, and it's free for those who trust Him. The transfer is also about timing. You might feel like it's taken too long, like you've been waiting forever. But God's delays are not denials. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time. Every moment of waiting has been preparation." You're stronger now, wiser, ready to carry the weight of this blessing. The transfer is happening now because you're ready to receive it. As this funding flows, you'll notice a shift in how others see you. People who once ignored you will start to take notice. Doors that were closed will swing open. Opportunities you didn't seek will find you. This is the power of God's favor. It's like a magnet, drawing the right people, the right resources, the right moments into your life. You're not chasing anymore, you're attracting. This transfer isn't just a one-time event. It's the beginning of a lifestyle. God is establishing you in a place of consistent abundance. Deuteronomy 28:12 says, "The Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of His bounty, to send rain on your land in season, and to bless all the work of your hands." This is your new normal, blessing upon blessing, overflow upon overflow. Get ready to live in it. Your faith is what activates this transfer. Hebrews 11:1 says, "Faith is confidence in what we hope for, and assurance about what we do not see." You might not see the full picture yet, but believe it's coming. Speak it, claim it, walk in it. Every step you take in faith brings you closer to the reality God has promised. You're not waiting for the blessing, it's already yours. This divine funding also comes with protection. As God pours out His resources, He's shielding you from those who would try to steal your joy or derail your purpose. Psalm 91:4 says, "He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge." No scheme of the enemy can touch what God has ordained for you. You're safe in His hands, chosen one. As you step into this season, you'll feel a new sense of freedom. The weight of worry, the burden of lack they're lifting. God is funding your peace, your joy, your confidence. You'll walk differently, speak differently, dream differently. People will notice the change and wonder what's happened. It's simple. God is happening in you, through you, for you. This transfer is also about legacy. The blessings coming your way aren't just for today, they're for generations. God is setting you up to leave a mark that outlives you. Think of Abraham, whose faith led to a covenant that blessed nations. Your obedience today will fund a future that impacts lives long after you're gone. You're not just building for now, you're building for eternity. Now, let's take a moment to anchor this truth. Hit that like button to affirm your faith. Type 777 in the comments to declare you're ready for God's massive transfer. Subscribe to join thousands of chosen one souls stepping into this divine season. These actions are your way of saying, God, I'm ready for your funding. They're not just clicks, they're declarations. This transfer will change how you see yourself. You're not defined by your past, your mistakes, or your struggles. You're defined by God's promise. Romans 8:28 says, "We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." You're called, chosen one, and God is funding that calling with everything you need to succeed. As this funding flows, you'll start to see patterns. Opportunities will align in ways that seem too perfect to be coincidence. People will show up at just the right time. Ideas will spark that lead to breakthroughs. This is God's hand at work, orchestrating a symphony of blessings. Trust the process. Even when it feels unfamiliar, know that He's guiding every step. This season is also about boldness. God's funding isn't for the timid. It's for those who dare to dream big, to step out in faith, to trust His plan. Joshua 1:9 says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." You're not stepping into this alone. God is with you, funding every move you make. The beauty of this transfer is that it's effortless. You don't have to strive or beg for it. God's funding flows naturally when you're aligned with His will. It's like a river finding its course, unstoppable, steady, and sure. All you need to do is stay open, stay faithful, and watch how He moves mountains on your behalf. This moment is sacred. You're standing at the edge of a new chapter, one where God's funding changes everything. You're not just a dreamer, you're a doer, a builder, a carrier of His glory. The transfer has begun, and it's only the start. Get ready, chosen one. The heavens are opening, and the resources are pouring in. This transfer also brings clarity of purpose. As God funds your life, He's illuminating your path. You'll start to see why you've been through what you've been through. Every trial, every tear, every moment of waiting was shaping you for this. Ephesians 2:10 says, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." Your purpose is coming into focus, and God is funding it. You might feel unworthy at times, like this blessing is too big for you. But hear this: God doesn't choose based on perfection. He chooses based on His plan. Look at Peter, a fisherman who denied Jesus 3 times, yet God funded his calling to lead thousands to faith. Your flaws don't disqualify you, they qualify you for God's grace. Embrace this transfer, knowing you're exactly who He wants to bless. The world will try to tell you that wealth comes from hustle, from schemes, from cutting corners. But God's funding is different. It's pure, it's righteous, it's sustainable. Proverbs 10:22 says, "The blessing of the Lord brings wealth without painful toil for it." This is the kind of wealth God is transferring to you, free from stress, full of peace, and overflowing with purpose. As you step into this season, you'll notice a shift in your relationships. God is bringing people into your life who align with your purpose. Divine connections are part of this transfer: mentors, partners, supporters who see your vision and help bring it to life. At the same time, He's removing those who drain you, who doubt you, who hold you back. Trust Him to reorder your circle. This funding also comes with joy. Not the fleeting kind, but the deep, unshakable joy that comes from knowing God is for you. Nehemiah 8:10 says, "The joy of the Lord is your strength." As God pours out his resources, he's pouring out his joy too. You'll find yourself smiling more, dreaming bigger, living lighter. This is what it means to be funded by God. The transfer is happening in real time. You might not see the full picture yet, but the pieces are coming together. Trust the process. Stay faithful. Keep your eyes on God. Every step you take in alignment with his will brings you closer to the fullness of his promise. You're not waiting for a miracle, you're living in one. This season is about stepping into your God-given authority. You're not just a recipient of this transfer, you're a steward. God is trusting you to manage his blessings well, to multiply what he gives, to use it for his glory. Like the faithful servant in Luke 16:10, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. You're ready for the much, chosen one. As this funding flows, you'll start to see the impossible become possible. Dreams that felt out of reach will take shape. Doors that seemed locked will open. People who overlooked you will seek you out. This is the power of God's transfer. It defies logic, it breaks barriers, it rewrites your story. Get ready to walk in a reality where miracles are your norm. This transfer is also about freedom. Freedom from worry, from lack, from the weight of trying to figure it all out. God is taking that burden off your shoulders. Matthew 11:28 says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This is his promise to you. The funding he's releasing comes with rest, with peace, with assurance that he's got you covered. You're not just receiving, you're becoming. This transfer is shaping you into the person God always meant you to be. Stronger, wiser, bolder, more aligned with his purpose. Every blessing, every resource, every opportunity is a tool to refine you, to elevate you, to prepare you for greater things. You're not just funded, you're transformed. This moment is yours, chosen one. The massive transfer has begun, and God is funding every step of your journey. Trust him. Walk in faith. Claim what's yours. The heavens are open, and the blessings are flowing. Stay ready, because this is only the beginning. This divine transfer is reshaping your reality in ways you never imagined. God is not just funding your dreams, he's rewriting the rules of what's possible for you. The limitations that once held you back are crumbling. The ceilings you thought were fixed are being shattered. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" You're stepping into a season where the impossible becomes your reality, where God's provision makes a way where there was none. Your life is becoming a testimony. People will look at you and see the hand of God at work. They'll wonder how you went from struggle to surplus, from obscurity to influence. This isn't about boasting, it's about reflecting his glory. Like Daniel in the lion's den, your faith in God's provision will silence doubters and display his power. The transfer happening now is not just for you, it's a sign to the world that God keeps his promises. This funding comes with divine strategy. God isn't just handing you resources, he's giving you wisdom to use them. You'll know when to move, when to wait, when to speak, when to stay silent. Proverbs 16:9 says, "In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." Trust that every decision you make in this season is guided by his hand. You're not guessing, you're being led. The enemy might try to sow confusion, whispering lies that this transfer isn't real or that you're not worthy. But those lies can't stand against God's truth. 2 Corinthians 10:5 says, We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. Your mind is protected. Your heart is anchored. The funding God is releasing is yours, and no force can steal it. Stand firm, chosen one, and reject every doubt. This transfer is also about alignment. God is repositioning you, placing you exactly where you need to be to receive His blessings. Think of Ruth, who went from a widowed foreigner to a key figure in God's plan, all because she followed His leading. Your steps are being ordered. The people you meet, the places you go, the ideas that spark, they're all part of God's divine blueprint for your life. You're not just receiving resources, you're receiving revelation. As God funds your journey, He's opening your eyes to see opportunities you missed before. Things that seemed out of reach are now within your grasp. Psalm 119:18 says, "Open my eyes that I may see wonderful things in your law." This is your moment of clarity, where God's plan unfolds and you see the path He's laid out for you. This season is about multiplication. What God gives you, He expects you to steward well. Like the boy with 5 loaves and 2 fish in John 6, your small offering in God's hands becomes enough to feed thousands. Your talents, your time, your faith, when you give them to God, He multiplies them beyond measure. This transfer is not just about receiving, it's about becoming a source of blessing for others. Let's anchor this moment. Hit that like button to affirm your readiness for God's funding. Type 777 in the comments to declare you're claiming this transfer. Subscribe to join thousands of chosen one souls walking in this divine season. These actions are your way of stepping into agreement with God's promise, of saying, "I'm ready for what you have for me." The transfer is also about healing. As God pours out His resources, He's mending the wounds of your past. Every disappointment, every betrayal, every moment of lack, He's redeeming them. Isaiah 61:3 promises, a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning. The scars you carry are becoming testimonies of God's faithfulness. You're not just funded, you're restored. This funding brings boldness. You're not meant to shrink back or play small. God is equipping you to step into rooms you never thought you'd enter, to speak with authority, to dream without limits. Like Esther, who risked everything to approach the king, you're being called to step forward with courage. God is funding your confidence, giving you the strength to walk in your purpose. The world will try to define your worth by what you have or what you've done, but God's funding redefines you. You're not measured by society's standards, you're measured by His love. Romans 5:8 says, God demonstrates His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. You're worthy because He says so. This transfer is proof of His unwavering commitment to you. This season is also about divine timing. You might wonder, why now? Why not sooner? But God's schedule is perfect. Every delay has been a setup, every closed door a redirection. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. This is your season, chosen one. The transfer is happening because you're ready to carry it. As God funds your life, He's also teaching you to trust. Not just in Him, but in yourself. You've been through enough to know you're stronger than you thought. Every trial has built resilience. Every setback has taught wisdom. Now, God is funding your confidence, showing you that you're capable of handling the blessings He's sending. You're not just a recipient, you're a steward of His glory. The transfer is also about community. God's blessings aren't meant to be hoarded, they're meant to be shared. As He funds you, He's positioning you to lift others up. Think of Barnabas, who sold his land to support the early church in Acts 4. Your abundance will inspire others, fund their dreams, and spread God's love. You're not just blessed, you're a blessing. This funding comes with peace, not the kind that depends on circumstances, but the peace that surpasses understanding. As Philippians 4:7 says, as God pours out his resources, he's also pouring out his calm. You'll sleep better, laugh louder, love deeper. The stress that once defined you is fading, replaced by a quiet confidence that God is in control. You're stepping into a season of overflow. The transfer isn't just enough, it's more than enough. God's funding is extravagant, exceeding your needs and spilling over into every area of your life. Ephesians 3:20 says, now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine. Get ready for blessings that surprise you, that stretch your faith, that redefine what's possible. This transfer is also about identity. As God funds your life, he's affirming who you are. You're not defined by your past mistakes or the world's labels. You're a chosen one, hand-picked by God for a purpose. 1 Peter 2:9 says, you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession. This funding is a reflection of your divine identity. The enemy will try to make you feel small, but God's funding says otherwise. You're not insignificant, you're essential to his plan. Every resource, every opportunity, every connection coming your way is proof that you're called to something greater. Like Gideon, who thought he was the least, you're being raised up to lead. God is funding your rise. This season is about action. God's funding doesn't mean sitting back, it means stepping forward. He's giving you the tools, but you have to use them. James 2:17 says, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. Take that step. Start that project. Speak that truth. God is funding your courage to move, to build, to create. The transfer is also about gratitude. As God pours out his blessings, your heart will overflow with thankfulness. Psalm 104 says, enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Every moment of this season is an opportunity to say, thank you, God. Your gratitude will amplify the flow, opening the heavens even wider. You're not just receiving resources, you're receiving vision. God is funding your ability to see beyond the now, to dream beyond the possible. Habakkuk 2:3 says, the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. The dreams stirring in your heart are not random, they're God's blueprint, and he's funding their fulfillment. This funding also brings protection. As God pours out his blessings, he's shielding you from harm. Psalm 121:7-8 says, the Lord will keep you from all harm, he will watch over your life. No scheme, no attack, no obstacle can derail what God has ordained. You're covered as you step into this transfer. The world might try to distract you with noise, but God's funding brings focus. You'll know what matters, what to prioritize, what to let go. Like Nehemiah rebuilding the wall, you'll stay focused on the task despite opposition. God is funding your clarity, helping you see the path and walk it with confidence. This transfer is about legacy. The blessings coming now will outlast you, touching lives you may never meet. Think of Abraham's covenant, still blessing nations today. Your obedience, your faith, your stewardship of this funding will create a ripple effect, changing the world for generations. You're not just funded, you're foundational. Let's lock in this truth. Hit that like button to stand in faith. Type 777 in the comments to claim God's provision. Subscribe to join thousands of chosen one souls embracing this divine transfer. These steps are your declaration that you're ready for what God is doing. They're your way of saying, I'm all in. This season is about breakthrough. Doors that were locked are opening. Chains that held you back are breaking. Isaiah 45:2 says, I will go before you and will level the mountains. I will break down gates of bronze and cut through bars of iron. God is clearing the way, funding your path with everything you need to move forward. You're also receiving divine connections. God is bringing people into your life who will amplify your purpose. Proverbs 27:17 says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. These relationships aren't random, they're part of the transfer, designed to elevate you and your mission. Trust God to bring the right people at the right time. The funding is also about joy. As God pours out His resources, He's filling you with a joy that can't be shaken. Psalm 16:11 says, you make known to me the path of life. You will fill me with joy in your presence. This joy isn't tied to circumstances. It's rooted in God's faithfulness. You'll carry it everywhere, and it will draw others to you. This transfer is personal. God knows your needs, your dreams, your struggles. He's not funding a generic plan. He's funding, are you? Luke 12:7 says, indeed, the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Every detail of your life matters to Him. This transfer is tailored to your purpose, your heart, your journey. Trust that it's perfect for you. You're stepping into a season of influence. God's funding isn't just about provision, it's about positioning. He's placing you where your voice will be heard, your gifts will shine, your impact will matter. Like Deborah, who led with wisdom and courage, you're being raised up to lead in your sphere. God is funding your authority. The enemy might try to stir up fear, but God's funding comes with peace. John 16:33 says, in this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. You're not fighting for victory, you're walking in it. The transfer is yours, and no force can stop it. Stand bold, chosen one, and claim what God has promised. This season is about abundance in every area, not just finances, but health, relationships, purpose. God's funding is holistic, touching every part of your life. Psalm 65:11 says, you crown the year with your bounty, and your carts overflow with abundance. This is your year, chosen one. The overflow is here. You're also receiving resilience. The trials you've faced have made you unbreakable. Like Job, who lost everything yet held fast to his faith, you're coming through stronger. God is funding your strength, giving you the endurance to carry His blessings and fulfill His purpose. You're built for this. The transfer is about trust. God is teaching you to rely on Him completely. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. As you let go of control, you'll see His provision flow. This funding isn't about your effort, it's about His faithfulness. Rest in that truth. You're stepping into a season of creativity. God's funding is sparking new ideas, new visions, new ways to express your purpose. Like Bezalel in Exodus 31, filled with the Spirit to create, you're being equipped to build something beautiful. Trust the inspiration He's giving you. It's part of the transfer. This moment is about surrender, letting go of old mindsets, old fears, old limitations. God's funding requires a heart that's open, ready to receive. Matthew 16:25 says, "Whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it." Surrender to his plan and watch the blessings unfold. The transfer is also about timing. God's funding arrives exactly when it's needed, not a moment too soon or too late. Esther 4:14 says, "Who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? You're here now for a reason. This transfer is perfectly timed for your purpose. You're receiving divine favor. People will go out of their way to help you. Opportunities will appear without explanation." Psalm 5:12 says, "Surely, Lord, you bless the righteous. You surround them with your favor as with a shield." This favor is part of God's funding, opening doors no one can shut. This season is about transformation. As God funds your life, He's changing you from the inside out. Romans 12:2 says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." You're not just receiving resources, you're becoming a new creation, aligned with His purpose, radiating His glory. Embrace the change, chosen one. The funding also brings freedom. Freedom from striving, from worry, from the weight of the world. John 8:36 says, "If the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed." God's transfer is liberating you to live fully, to dream boldly, to walk confidently. You're not bound anymore. You're free. You're stepping into a season of harvest. Every seed you've sown, every prayer, every act of faith, every moment of obedience is bearing fruit. Galatians 6:7 says, "A man reaps what he sows. Your harvest is here, chosen one." God is funding the fruit of your faithfulness, and it's abundant. This transfer is about purpose. God's funding isn't random, it's tied to His plan for you. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you." Every resource, every blessing, every opportunity is moving you closer to your divine calling. Trust the journey. You're also receiving courage. God's funding emboldens you to take risks, to step out, to trust His leading. Joshua 1:7 says, "Be strong and very courageous." You're not just funded, you're empowered to act, to build, to lead. The transfer is equipping you for greatness. The world might try to pull you back, but God's funding is pushing you forward. Philippians 3:13-14 says, "Forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead, I press on toward the goal." This transfer is your momentum, propelling you toward your destiny. Keep moving, chosen one. This season is about overflow. God's funding isn't just enough, it's extravagant. Psalm 23:5 says, "My cup overflows." Your life is becoming a vessel for His abundance, spilling over into every area: finances, relationships, health, joy. Get ready for a life of more than enough. You're also receiving wisdom. God's funding includes the insight to navigate this season well. James 1:5 says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all." You'll know how to steward His blessings, how to multiply what He gives, how to walk in His purpose. The transfer is about legacy. What God is doing now will echo through generations. Like David, whose psalms still inspire millions, your life will leave a mark. Deuteronomy 7:9 says, "He is the faithful God, keeping His covenant of love to 1,000 generations." Your funding is building something eternal. Let's stand in this truth. Hit that like button to claim your place in this transfer. Type 777 in the comments to declare God's provision over your life. Subscribe to join thousands of chosen one souls embracing this divine season. These steps are your way of saying, God, I'm ready for your funding. You're stepping into a season of clarity. God's funding is illuminating your path, showing you what's next. Psalm 119:105 says, Your word is a lamp for my feet, a light on my path. Every step you take is guided, every decision is covered. Trust the light He's giving you, it's leading you to greatness. The funding also brings peace. As God pours out His resources, He's calming your heart. Isaiah 26:3 says, You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you. No matter what comes, you're anchored in His provision, unshaken by the storms. This transfer is about empowerment. God is funding your ability to rise, to lead, to create. Like Nehemiah, who rebuilt the wall against all odds, you're being equipped to build something lasting. Nehemiah 2:20 says, The God of heaven will give us success. Your success is guaranteed. Step into it. You're also receiving divine timing. God's funding arrives exactly when you need it. Habakkuk 2:3 says, Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. Every delay has been preparation. Every wait a setup. The transfer is here, and it's right on time. The world might try to distract you, but God's funding brings focus. You'll know what to pursue, what to release. Colossians 3:2 says, Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. This transfer is aligning your priorities, sharpening your vision, guiding your steps. This season is about abundance. God's funding is overflowing, touching every part of your life. Psalm 36:8 says, They feast on the abundance of your house. You give them drink from your river of delights. You're not just surviving, you're feasting on His goodness. You're also receiving strength. God's funding includes the resilience to carry His blessings. Isaiah 40:31 says, Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. You're not just funded, you're fortified, ready to walk in the fullness of His plan. The transfer is about transformation. As God pours out His resources, He's reshaping you into His image. 2 Corinthians 3:18 says, We are being transformed into His image with ever-increasing glory. You're not just receiving, you're becoming a reflection of His glory, chosen one. This divine transfer is rewriting your story with a pen dipped in God's promises. Every chapter of struggle, every page of pain, is being turned into a testimony of triumph. The funding God is releasing isn't just about provision, it's about proclamation. Your life will shout His faithfulness. Like Noah, who built an ark in the face of ridicule, you're being funded to create something that defies the world's expectations. Genesis 6:22 says, Noah did everything just as God commanded him. Your obedience is unlocking this flood of blessings. You're entering a season of divine acceleration. What once took years to manifest will now unfold swiftly. God's funding is speeding up your journey, bringing dreams to life faster than you thought possible. Haggai 2:9 says, The glory of this present house will be greater than the glory of the former house. The delays are over, the waiting is done. God is moving quickly, and His resources are catching up to His purpose for you. This transfer is about divine order. God is arranging every detail of your life with precision. The chaos you've faced, the confusion that tried to cloud your path, it's all being cleared. 1 Corinthians 14:33 says, "For God is not a God of disorder, but of peace." Every resource, every opportunity, every connection is falling into place like pieces of a divine puzzle. You're not stumbling forward, you're walking in His perfect design. The enemy might try to throw obstacles, but God's funding comes with victory. No scheme can derail what He's ordained. Romans 8:37 says, "In all these things we are more than conquerors through Him who loved us." You're not just overcoming, you're dominating. The transfer is arming you with the strength to push past every barrier, to rise above every challenge, to claim what's yours. This season is about divine exposure. God is pulling back the curtain, revealing His plan for you. Things hidden in the shadows, opportunities, connections, truths are coming to light. Psalm 139:12 says, "Even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day." What was unclear is becoming clear. What was out of reach is now in your hands. God's funding is illuminating your path. You're also receiving divine rest. This transfer isn't about striving, it's about receiving. God is funding your peace, your calm, your ability to rest in His promises. Hebrews 4:11 says, "Let us therefore make every effort to enter that rest." You don't have to fight for this blessing. You don't have to chase it. It's coming to you as you trust Him, as you lean into His provision. The transfer is about expansion. God is stretching your capacity to receive, to dream, to impact. Like Jabez in 1 Chronicles 4:10, who prayed, "Oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my territory." You're being called to think bigger. God's funding is enlarging your vision, your influence, your reach. You're not confined anymore, you're stepping into wide open spaces. Let's stand firm in this moment. Hit that like button to declare your faith in God's provision. Type 777 in the comments to claim this divine transfer. Subscribe to join thousands of chosen one souls walking in this season of abundance. These steps are your way of saying, "God, I'm ready for your funding." They're your declaration of trust in His plan. This funding is about divine restoration. Everything you've lost, time, opportunities, relationships, God is bringing back in greater measure. Job 42:10 says, "The Lord restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before." Your losses are not the end. They're the setup for a double portion. God's transfer is making all things new, turning your mourning into dancing. You're stepping into a season of divine influence. God's funding is positioning you to lead, to inspire, to change lives. Like Joseph, who rose from a prison to a palace, you're being elevated to places of authority. Genesis 41:40 says, "You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders." Your voice matters, chosen one. God is funding your impact. This transfer is also about divine protection. As God pours out His blessings, He's shielding you from harm. Psalm 91:11 says, "For He will command His angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways." No attack, no scheme, no distraction can touch what God is doing in your life. You're covered by His hand, safe in His provision. The world might try to pull you into fear, but God's funding brings courage. You're not meant to shrink back, you're meant to stand tall. Deuteronomy 31:6 says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you." This transfer is fueling your boldness, empowering you to step into your calling without hesitation. You're receiving divine insight. God's funding includes the wisdom to navigate this season. Proverbs 2:6 says, "For the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth come knowledge and understanding." You'll know what to do, where to go, how to steward his blessings. This isn't just about resources, it's about revelation, guiding you every step of the way. This season is about divine alignment. God is syncing your life with his purpose. Every step, every decision, every moment is coming into harmony with his plan. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him." Nothing is wasted. Every trial, every tear, every triumph is part of this transfer, aligning you with destiny. The transfer is about divine favor. Doors are opening that no one can shut. People are noticing you, supporting you, believing in you. Psalm 90:17 says, "May the favor of the Lord our God rest on us, establish the work of our hands for us." God's funding is surrounding you with favor, making your path smooth and your efforts fruitful. You're also receiving divine strength. This transfer isn't just about what you gain, it's about who you're becoming. Isaiah 41:10 says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. You're stronger than you know, chosen one." God's funding is building you up for the journey ahead. This season is about divine overflow. God's blessings aren't just meeting your needs, they're exceeding them. Ephesians 3:20 says, "Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine." Your life is becoming a vessel for his abundance, overflowing into every area: finances, relationships, purpose, joy. The enemy might try to stir doubt, but God's funding brings certainty. You're not hoping for a breakthrough, you're living in one. 1 John 5:4 says, "For everyone born of God overcomes the world." This transfer is your victory, your proof that God's promises are true. Stand in that truth, chosen one, and let no lie shake you. You're stepping into a season of divine creativity. God's funding is sparking new ideas, new visions, new ways to express your purpose. Like Bezalel, filled with the Spirit to create in Exodus 35:31, you're being equipped to build something extraordinary. Trust the inspiration flowing through you. It's part of this transfer. This transfer is about divine timing. God's funding arrives exactly when you need it. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." Every delay, every wait, every moment of preparation has led to this. You're ready, and the resources are here. Step into this season with confidence. You're also receiving divine peace. As God funds your life, he's calming your heart. John 16:33 says, "I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace." This transfer isn't just about provision, it's about rest, about knowing you're held by God's unchanging hand. The transfer is about divine purpose. Every resource, every opportunity, every blessing is tied to God's plan for you. Jeremiah 1:5 says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." You're not just funded, you're appointed, called to a mission only you can fulfill. You're stepping into a season of divine breakthrough. Walls that stood in your way are falling. Isaiah 45:2 says, "I will go before you and will level the mountains." God's funding is clearing your path, making a way where there was none. You're not stuck anymore, you're moving forward. This funding brings divine confidence. You're not second-guessing yourself anymore. Psalm 27:1 says, The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? God's transfer is fueling your assurance, empowering you to walk boldly in your calling. You're not just funded, you're unstoppable. Let's anchor this truth. Hit that like button to stand in faith. Type 777 in the comments to claim God's provision. Subscribe to join thousands of chosen one souls embracing this divine transfer. These steps are your declaration, your way of saying, God, I'm ready for your funding. You're receiving divine restoration. Everything the enemy stole, your peace, your joy, your opportunities, God is bringing back multiplied. Joel 2:25 says, I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten. This transfer is your comeback, your proof that God redeems every loss.